So we're back with part two, and just as picking it up with the value chain and differentiation. So just as pursuing cost advantages can involve the entire value chain, the same is true of any differentiation advantage, right? Things done upstream by suppliers or downstream by distributors and retailers can have a meaningful impact on customers. We saw that in Hoover Company with the vacuum and their early release, where they created this positive relationship and a profitable one for suppliers. And so differentiation strategies then depend on meeting customer needs in a unique way and creating those new needs through activities such as innovation and persuasive advertising. Hoover was trying to do that at the end in the 1990s with that get a free flight ad, but it was a mismanaged campaign. So in trying to deliver differentiation, increase market share, and sell back product, it actually led to their vulnerability to a takeover. So you want to manage it, right? So differentiation can be based on tangible, I mentioned, or intangible attributes. So things that are easy to copy differentiating features is not a sustainable competitive advantage. It might be a competitive advantage today, but it's not sustainable. So the value of certain differentiating features is rather easy for buyers to detect. So for example, if I have a project management course, somebody could easily create and look at some of the unique things I've done that may get me some market share, but then copy it and tweak it in their own way, right? But at the same time, if I now create a project management simulator that is clever and effective, an online simulator that's low cost, it is hard to copy that approach, right? And so successful differentiations go a great lengths to make buyers acknowledge the product's value and employ various other signals of value. So differentiation strategies tend to work best in market circumstances where differentiation is going to yield this long-lasting and more profitable competitive edge, and that we want based on well-established brand image, right? Maybe patent protection as part of your innovation, maybe complex technical superiority like a Microsoft or Linux operating system. Linux, probably not a great example because it's open source, but a reputation for superior product like Microsoft or Apple, for example, that sort of thing, or the iPhone, for example. Oh, I probably just heard a bunch of Samsung feelings. Sorry, people. Anyhow, there are pitfalls to avoid, of course, like anything, ups and downs, pros and cons. Any differentiating strategy that works well is going to be a magnet for other rivals to imitate. So this is why a firm has to look for ways to create value in other aspects, right? The value creation that are time consuming and burdensome for your competitors to go through the effort. They're like, no, I'm not going to do that, right? If we hope to use differentiation as a winning tool in a sustainable competitive advantage, right? Because again, copying, if your differentiation is easy to be copied, it's not a sustainable competitive advantage. So this is from the book 5.2, Concepts and Connections on a focused low-cost strategy. This was the company's effort to lower the cost of diabetes care and allowing them to address major health issues in Mexico. Good questions just to think about. There's some things in your book that you could review on that regard. Now, what sets focus strategies apart from these broad low-cost or broad differentiation strategies, the two strategies we just talked about, a focused strategy, right, for like a niche market is concentrating your attention on this narrow piece of the total market. So a focused low-cost strategy is aimed at securing the competitive edge right, based on other low cost or differentiated items. All right, and you become increasingly attractive as more of the following is going to favor the conditions listed on your approach, right? So the strategy achieves its low cost advantage in the same way as for low cost leadership by outmanaging rivals in keeping costs low. Now, in most markets do have a buyer segment that's willing to pay a price for this premium product, for the finest items available. Thus, opening up the strategic window for some competitors to pursue a differentiation-based focus strategy that's going to aim at the top. So that niche market might be the very top of the market pyramid. I just bought 5 bottles of Caymus Cabernet Sauvignon as gifts for the holidays coming up. And I did that because it's even though it's expensive, it's a high-end wine that I would like to share with friends to let them know they're special, right? I succumbed to that niche in the high end. So a focus strategy aimed at securing this competitive edge is going to be either based on low costs or differentiation. And it's going to become increasingly attractive as more favorable conditions listed in the slide are met, right? And you can pause the slide and read for yourselves. For example, maybe there are few rivals that attempt to specialize in that target segment, like my Caymus Cab. There are few rivals that meet that high-end quality for that price. The price is a little higher, but it's lower than other cabs, and I know it's very good. Now, this is another something to consider, concepts and connections from the book, right? And it describes how Canada Goose has been gaining attention with its focused differentiation strategy. You may want to do some of your own research on that. It's a very interesting topic. So there are several inherent risks, though, to increased attractiveness of a focused segment, right? Like changes in competitor capabilities and changes in the characteristics of the customers themselves, which will evolve over time. So the best cost strategies are now become then a hybrid of the low cost and the differentiation strategies. And what you're doing is you're incorporating features of both simultaneously. So they may either target the broad or the narrow/focused customer segment, right? That's a decision you have to make strategically as a company. So a best cost provider strategy becomes then that hybrid, as I said, of that low cost and differentiation strategies. And it aims to satisfy the buyers. What are their expectations? Is it quality, features, performance, service, right? When I go to a fast food chain like Chick-fil-A, it's service and quality that differentiates it for me, right? It draws me to it. Now, if we want to employ then these best cost strategies, they can note that they can incorporate appealing features like good to excellent product performance or quality, or a more satisfying service into its product, offering a lower cost than the rivals, and which is all very positive impact, right? At this point, it enjoys this best cost status, right? Just to repeat, it's a low-cost provider of a product with upscale attributes that creates a best cost status. And that's really what Chick-fil-A is for me. I could go to McDonald's next door. I don't mind McDonald's. It's a good restaurant if I'm in a hurry or I want a Big Mac. But most of the time, I'm going to pay a little more and go to Chick-fil-A for the service, the quality, and the other differentiation features. So the best cost provider can use its low cost advantage to underprice rivals whose products or services have similar or upscale attributes and still earn attractive products. So that's an interesting note. So the target market for this best cost strategy are value conscious middle market buyers, right? So now we're focusing in on the very center, right? Buyers who are looking for appealing extras or added functionality at a very good price, right? I go to the store many times and I will buy something because it's similar price, but this one adds one extra feature. That would be nice, right? So that's an intentional effort to get my business and market share. So regardless of whether you, whatever your focus is in the segment, right, the best cost strategy is going to look for that approach for middle market buyers. Now, a company's biggest vulnerability employing this best cost strategy is getting squeezed between the strategies of various other firms that are using either low cost or high-end differentiation strategies. There are lots of ways to get squeezed in the middle, right? So the company's competitive strategy should be well matched to what is your internal situation, right? And how can you leverage that, like resources and things, to how can you leverage then your collection of these valuable resources and competencies to continue with your competitive strategy long term? So successful competitive strategies are resource based. We've talked about that a couple of times. A company's competitive strategy should be well matched to whatever your internal situation is and predicated on leveraging a collection of competitively valuable resources, right? I was talking to a gentleman this weekend who said, I have a business, it does well, but I want to expand it. I don't have the time to expand it. I've got to hire a marketing person that can go out and push for our niche, our differentiation. It was a great conversation, very interesting conversation, because they recognized the need for resources to continue their competitive strategy. So for all types of generic strategies, success in sustaining this competitive edge is going to depend on having resources or capabilities that rivals have trouble duplicating and for which there are no good substitutes, as a review. And then finally, narrow segment focus users and best cost providers are successful competitive strategies. Remember, they are resource based. Okay, that's it for this week. I'll see you online.